Hey, beautiful people, Viv going live from York. So it's something I've been doing recently, talking to people business-wise and stuff like that. And it's a well-known thing that stories sell better than sort of facts. And I think it needs to go one step further than that. I think there needs to be sharing, a sort of bearing of your soul, sharing of your story. So I know from a couple of interviews and stuff that I've done with people in the past that I've always been really surprised how people have reacted to various things I've said along the lines of I used to be in IT, I used to work in a sort of male dominated industry. My education was very sort of science based, STEM type stuff. So I did science A levels, a philosophy degree, but a Bachelor of Science philosophy degree. So all the other people who got the Bachelor of Science were male. And then I went into computer programming, and then obviously had kids, ended up homeschooling for the whole of that time, and then sort of did a massive pivot into shamanic stuff. But actually, even shamanism, a vast majority of like the shamanic healers are male. So again, it's a sort of male orientated thing. So it's always really interesting when people start sort of digging into why did you do that? How did you end up doing that? Blah, blah, blah. How many things come out? And I was talking to somebody today, and actually it was quite interesting that we ended up talking about the miscarriage I had, some sort of obstetrics issues I'd had at the hospital, the way they treated me, removing CK2, as I call her, Chamberlain Kid 2, in case you're wondering. And then the way I was dealt with when I got pregnant with the Indie and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd share, because it's something that's come up a couple of times recently, that it's only when you start talking with people that firstly you start realizing you've got lots of things in common. So the miscarriage I had was a molar pregnancy miscarriage. They're quite rare, but because I openly talk about stuff that I've been through, it's fascinating how many people I now know who've had the same, and it's a slightly different thing that you have to deal with. So it's nice to find other people who've sort of gone through it. Not nice as in, oh, it's great, but nice as in it's a different type of thing that you go through to come out the other side of it. So I just thought I'd put it out there that it's actually nice, and it's not like indulgent to share where you've been, things you've experienced, etc., because that's sometimes how you end up connecting with people and finding things in common. And it doesn't always have to be like business related. I think it is important, if you're running your own business, for people to know sort of where you're coming from and who you are and how you got to where you got to, because it is quite interesting, my story, how I ended up being a shamanic practitioner and doing essential oils. Although, I mean, I wanted to be a doctor, and actually the company I work with are now opening health centres and using oils in sort of health centres. So there is, there are links, but to share sort of where you've been and the things you've been through, and to sort of put that out there so people know why you're doing what you're doing, but also to share the benefits. So for me, a lot of the healing that I had when I was learning shamanism, and I did it purely for me. I wasn't going to do it as a business. I was doing it purely to deal with my own stuff, my own childhood issues, my own way that I dealt with my children as when they were little and stuff. So, sharing some of that and going through the healing and seeing what I could unpack of my own past and my own issues through the healing. I have to share some of those stories. But the number of people I've spoken to where they've been really pleased that I have, and it's brought up connections and ideas and things that maybe we need to look into, has been really important. And it's not something that I maybe would have thought of. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty much happy to talk about most things, as long as people don't mind me getting emotional, because I do tend to get quite emotional about stuff, but I'm okay showing that emotion. So I'm not saying just go and blurt out and take over conversations and say, well, I want to talk about me, but I'm talking about, when things are in the right place and you're in the right zone, then maybe bearing a bit of your soul about where you've been and the journey you've been on has led to some interesting conversations and some interesting connections and some interesting collaborations that I'm hoping are going to help with my business and is going to help other people with their businesses. And I think at the moment we all need as much help as we can get. So I just thought I'd share that because it's been something that's come up a couple of times recently. Even my home education journey, I still talk about it now, even though I'm not really home educating. But it's important for people to know that that is an option, and to talk about the fact that I didn't teach my children anything, even though I am a tutor and I taught other people's kids stuff. So even stuff like that, you know, people go, "What? You didn't teach them anything, and you've got one at university?" It's like, yeah, share your journey, share your stuff, because you never know who you're going to impact, or if that person's going to talk to somebody else about it, and you could really influence where somebody else is, or support somebody, or they can, you know, pass on the information, and you just might be easing somebody else's journey, or giving them a bit of a boost, thinking that they're doing okay, or there may be a connection there where you can end up talking to somebody who's been through something similar to you, etc., etc. So I just thought, seeing as it's something that had come up a couple of times recently in various things that I've done, that if you want to make those connections and start helping people, then everybody's story is unique, but there are overlaps and you can help other people. And at the moment, I think that's really important, to just put yourself out there maybe a bit more and see what happens. Put yourself out there to the universe and see what comes back. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that. As you all know, if you've ever watched any of my stuff, you're amazing, fantastic human beings. I am going to be starting to do face-to-face essential oil classes and stuff, and I've got some stuff in the pipeline. So if you want to be kept up to date with what I'm doing and stuff, then get in touch, have a chat with me, send me a message, find me on Telegram, any of those things. I'm pretty much trying to change everything social media wise to be sort of essentially shamanic Viv, or that sort of combination. There's a few things where I'm still Viv Chamberlain Kid or Viv C Kid, but you can find me all over the place, not in various different places. I'm doing TikToks and stuff like that as well. But if you ever want to chat about any of the things that I've ever mentioned, like miscarriage, home educating, shamanism, I'm always up for talking about anything. I'll also happily talk about databases, spreadsheets, puzzles, poetry, writing, being dyslexic, any of those things. Then just get in touch. I'm always happy to help, and I love making those connections with people. So remember, you're fantastic, wonderful human beings, and take care, everybody. Love you. Bye.